Good day guys, my name is Melvin Satishan. So we have done a repository creation and we learned how to add the files into the repository. Now we are moving it into the next segment, GitHub Actions. It is very critical transaction. Many of the people may be knowing that the Jenkins, Ansible or Chef, Puppet, all these CI/CD tools, right? So what all these tools does, you will be writing a code and keeping it in your GitHub repository, and you will map this URL to the project in appropriate project in your Jenkins or Chef or Puppet or any other CD deployment tool, right? Now, as and when we create a job or when we run a job or workflow, the CI/CD solution, either Jenkins or CloudBees, will clone your repository to their workspace, and then it will execute the either the pipeline or the code to the desired destinations, and you will get the result, right? Now, GitHub came up with one option. If we have an inbuilt tool, then why do we need to go for such complex integrations? If GitHub itself can host the customer's code or a developer's code and can do various version controlling, why GitHub can't do a linting? Why GitHub can't do a testing? Why GitHub can't do a deployment transactions? GitHub came up with an out of the box idea called GitHub Actions. What is happening with the Jenkins or CloudBees? Same thing can be performed using actions. Now, we will explore all the GitHub features by performing GitHub Actions so that you will be getting a bonus, because we don't want to waste much time in learning the GitHub. We will learn more, or we will focus more on GitHub action, and automatically you will be learning the GitHub. Let's do that. So you can save a lot of time, I would say. Okay. Now coming into the GitHub action, for that we need to create, this is basically our repository practice, right? And here is the, we are in the practice folder. Perfect. Now we are going to create the prerequisites. Okay, for that let me delete this unwanted files and all. We don't need it anymore. This is just for a demo. I have created it. The practice folder I will keep as it is. Later we will do the needful. Okay, and here I'm going to create a folder. Let's look at the folder structure here. This is going to be GitHub, and I have created a hidden GitHub file. Right now I need to create basically a file of a folder, workflows. So here is a GitHub, hidden GitHub folder. Inside the GitHub folder we have created a workflows. Perfect. So inside the workflows I'm going to create a file called action.yaml. You can use either YML or you can use YAML. Perfect. Now your GitHub configuration file is ready. This is going to be our first workflow. Whatever the jobs inside the GitHub action, we call it as workflows. And each workflow contains one or more jobs. Each jobs contains one or more steps. So let's understand it this way. I am going to open a draw.io here. So basic structure of a job would be something like this. I'm sorry, this is my generative AI section. So this is going to be a GHA workflow, and each GHA workflow will have a specific component called jobs. Each jobs will have a tasks. Okay, let's say that let's do this way. Okay, this is this way it will run it. This will run parallelly, and this will run serially. Basically it will run it from top to bottom, so that it will be like this. Let me correct it. This is workflow, this is GitHub job. Basically this is job, and these are steps. So these are steps. Okay, same thing happens here as well. So we have a workflow. From workflow we have jobs, multiple jobs. These jobs will be running parallelly, and the steps inside the jobs will be running serially. Now assume that you you may be asking, okay, can't we run a job serially? Yes, there's an option. So we will define that as there's a flag called needs. If we put that needs, that particular parameter, in that case our job will run serially. In that case, what I will put here is needs this GHA job. So once this job is successful or failed, whatever it is, then only this job will be getting executed. And we can add the conditions. Once this job is successful, it should be running, or if this job is failed, this should be running, or always we should run. All those conditions we can do that. Just my aim is to make sure that you understand the concept, how this workflow executes. Okay, so we have a workflow. Under workflow we have job. Under job we have steps. So in other words, we can say we have a workflow. Under workflow we have a job template. Under the job template we have task. In that way also we can tell. Okay, so that's a 10,000 feet overview about the GitHub action workflow. Okay, in the next segment we would be explaining about, or we would be creating a workflow.